Welcome.
Welcome to Double Coverage.
Your weekly podcast for sports all year round. From the college football playoffs starting in January to the winter meetings in baseball in December, we've got you covered.
Starting in
3, 2, 1.
All right, everybody. It is free agency season. My name is Austin Hartsfield. Welcome to Double Coverage. What better way to start off free agency and do a little recap than having a free agent of my own? Not the Matt that y'all are used to. This is Matthew Clardy. And tell them a little about yourself, Matt.
What's up, guys? My name is Matt from Practice Squadron. So hopefully Austin puts my link
I got you.
in the description. So now we're just gonna talk about some sports today. I'm ready.
Yeah, this is great. It's always good having somebody else to talk to because it's fresh.
Yeah.
Well, let's start out with the biggest name that was a free agent at the beginning. Let's start with Kirk Cousins. What does Kirk Cousins add to Minnesota that they didn't have before?
I'm gonna be real. I think they should have just doubled down on Case Keenum. I always thought that Kirk Cousins was gonna go to the Broncos.
Yeah, no, I was all in on Kirk Cousins as a Bronco. I was ready to go. I was ready to put it in wrapping paper. Like, I thought that was a done deal, honestly.
I think what you have to look at with them is like how complete is their team now? Because I mean, he signed that fat contract.
Yeah,
so.
and that Bronco team isn't what it was 4 years ago. So everybody's still holding on to hope. And mind you, that defense is still amazing. But Emmanuel Sanders is getting a little older. That's a guy that I truly love in this league. Like, if I could get Emmanuel Sanders, it'd be like awesome, honestly. But I don't love a Demaryius Thomas, and I just think he has more weapons vertically in Minnesota than he would have in Denver.
I mean, I think like the old phrase is, if you have two quarterbacks, then you have no quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
That's pretty much what it is.
The problem, Minnesota had three, and somehow they made it work. So,
yeah.
And now they're all gone.
Well, the problem in Denver was that all three quarterbacks were healthy, and
they were just so bad. Like, everybody was convinced that Paxton Lynch was like the prototype. I was like, that dude looks like Kevin Durant in college running around the basketball court. Like, So uncoordinated, doesn't know where he's throwing. Trevor Siemian was serviceable, but that was about it. And there's nothing.
I think like the big thing with Minnesota is that so far their defense hasn't really been affected.
And that's weird having Barr on that side and having Harrison Smith on together back there. They added a little something with Sheldon Richardson, but it's just a matter of how much better can they get. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go to number 2 on my favorite free agents. This is one that hurts me dearly. Tyrann Mathieu, Houston Texans. Tough to see a guy with that amount of talent go to your division, but
he took less money.
Yeah, that's what confused me. I was like, who in their right mind isn't paying $10 million for Tyrann Mathieu?
But with him, I think it's good for him because this is a Texans team that could literally be Super Bowl contenders, or they could be like within 10 picks again if their players just are not healthy.
There's no in-between with this team, and there's never been an in-between with this franchise, honestly. Like, they've either been really good or they've been really bad.
I mean, the crazy part is they've made the playoffs, like other than this past season, like the 2 seasons before that. So it's like...
Well, yeah, because when they weren't...
I think they're like the Clippers of the NFL.
Yeah, you're right.
Into the playoffs, it's just everybody's like...
You're right. That was the exact metaphor that I was going to hit. So that's...
But it was crazy because last year I went to the preseason game of Tom Brady.
I bet that was fun.
Went to Houston.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I was hyped on Deshaun Watson ever since he won the national championship, and I felt like no one else was, which was weird. And I watched he played like the whole second half. And I was like, man, this dude is legit. You
want winners, You want guys that have won at every level, As much as I love Josh Allen's actually my favorite quarterback in this draft. None of these quarterbacks have really won.
Yeah.
Like, none of them have really continuously won in college, and that's what really worries about me about this draft class. But Deshaun Watson is a treasure, and unfortunately, he's in my division.
I don't know too much because I don't watch college football like religiously.
Right.
The only team I watch is UTSA because I go there.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know my boy Marcus Davenport.
Yeah. Everybody knows Marcus Davenport's name now. Man.
But so I mean, like as far as QBs go, I don't know like what separates them. So I just put them. I think they're all similar as far as like potential goes. So I mean, like realistically, to me, when the draft happens, it doesn't matter to me which QB goes first or second.
Well, that's the fun thing about being a Pats fan, though. Is like it doesn't really matter. You're either picking 31st or 32nd. Like, let's be real here. I did see something the other day, a little bit off free agency, but Mason Rudolph, the kid at Oklahoma State, would be somebody good for the Pats to groom. I've been thinking about that for a while, and I thought, why not? You have like the 4th pick in the 2nd round or the 8th pick, whatever it was, from San Francisco. Might as well use it and groom somebody since all of them are gone.
Well, like, while we're talking about Marcus Davenport, I don't know if you know this, but, like, I used to play, he was on my basketball team as a kid, right?
Right.
So, we were pretty good friends back then, but UTSA happened, and so we both go to UTSA. But, you know, I did not know that college football is, like, time-consuming.
Oh, yeah, no, it's nonstop. One of my roommates is actually a player up here in Amarillo, and he's gone all the time. Like, they put him through the grinder.
But I was talking to him, like, a month ago, and I was like, I didn't think he was going to go as high. I've heard that, like, the Packers are going to try to get him.
Yeah, Packers-Cowboys range. Packers through Cowboys range is, I think, where he goes. Probably 14 through 20.
And I'm like, man, can the Patriots just move up and get this dude? I cannot be wearing a Green Bay Packers
right.
jersey.
That's so. I mean, it's spot on. You know. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Good tidbit on Davenport there. I mean, you have a guy like Jordy Nelson go into an offense, but here's my problem with replacing Michael Crabtree with Jordy Nelson. Michael Crabtree is one of the best red zone threats in the National Football League, in my opinion, at least. I mean, he's a big body, big go up and get it guy. And you replace him with Jordy Nelson, who is basically Amari Cooper with a little more speed.
Well, the problem is Crabtree be dropping
everything. Unless it's the
really what it is.
Unless it's the 4th quarter, he's dropping everything. But
I mean, the thing with Jordy Nelson is you just got to keep him healthy.
Yeah.
But that's not really like the Packers' strong suit, right? They're offensive
right. We got the same problem in Indianapolis. Man, a lot of these linemen. What
about the Browns? Let's talk about the Browns.
Let's talk about the Browns. All right, so first of all, Jarvis Landry's not worth more than a 4th round pick to people. Like, I think he is.
The craziest part about this whole Browns team, whether I think that they're going to do good or not good, is on paper they changed their whole team.
It's already been flipped.
In a month. They got quality players. They still had their draft picks and they gave up almost nothing. They got
literally nothing.
Jarvis Landry, Carlos Hyde, Tyrod Taylor. Are those players like Pro Bowlers? Probably not. But on a Browns team that has never been good, that's something to look for.
I don't care who's playing quarterback, but if you have Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon, mind you, number 1, healthy, and number 2, not suspended. That's a pretty big, deep threat, but just having one of them, much less 2 of them.
And their defense isn't that bad. I'm going to be real.
No, it's not.
There were times last year where I did play their defense in fantasy football because they never got below like 5 points when I was looking at them.
That team never got truly blown out. They were in almost every game. It was ridiculous. Like the Packers game, you know, we all know about the Packers game where they blew the lead and then they blew it in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had the lead on the Colts for a good quarter and a half, and that Colts team had a lead for like a total of like 8 quarters this year. So that's not exactly a great example. But this Browns team is not bad on paper right now. It's just they ran into a lot of bad circumstances this year that just so happened to cause them to lose 16 games.
I just want to see. I want to see if they can get like a decent tight end.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Njoku's just not going to do it.
One more wide receiver to pair with Josh Gordon and Landry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whether it's waiting on somebody like a Christian Kirk in the first pick of the second round, if he's still there, that's a guy that could actually help them a lot. But that team has just flipped it upside down. Now, you did benefit from the Browns kind of excavating their whole roster, adding another McCourty. You now have both. How do you feel about that?
I mean, like, he's been on. I don't think he's like amazing, only because like the Patriots they could have got him like a long time ago.
There's been a McCourty reunion rumors forever.
Yeah,
for years. But I think that secondary is going to be really, really good soon. I think at least. Even losing a Butler.
After the Super Bowl loss, they needed to switch things up a little bit, and I think that's what they're doing.
I mean, and that's what they're doing. They also added Claiborne, of course, which is obviously not secondary, but that helps that D-line out a little bit.
This is just my tidbit, and it always happens when I view Patriot pickups, trades, whatever. It's never the ones like the media is talking about. Like, they were talking about Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
They were talking about, what's his name, from the Seahawks.
Michael Bennett?
Michael Bennett, and also the cornerback. I'm having a blank.
Sherman?
Yeah, Richard Sherman. Like, that was all over the media, like, last week and a week before that, and none of it happens. And then they pick up a dude like Jeremy Hill.
Yeah, it didn't make any noise at all. Like,
Jeremy Hill is not he's not a Pro Bowler, and he was barely a startable player on the Bengals. But the thing is, with the Patriots, is that there's so many different, like, packages that they go with, is that it doesn't matter if you're average. You either catch the ball, you're running, maybe we're going tight end this time, all wide receiver, it's just crazy.
A lot of the Pats' offense seems to be filling voids on the field, basically. Whether it's running the seam route and filling that seam so that somebody else can get open. And a lot of it's based on Tom's quick release. I mean, when Tom releases the ball that fast, like, you don't really need an offensive. You need an offensive line, obviously, at left tackle and right tackle. But nobody's going to get through the guards that fast, is my thing.
Well, it's also about the defense. Like, most of the time, if it's man-to-man, then they're throwing to running backs. So.
Exactly. Just a little check down. You just wait for him to check and release, and you'll be good to go. Well, let's go from your team to mine. Colts traded their third overall pick yesterday or today. It might have been today. I don't know. It feels like so long.
It was this morning. I woke up and I saw it.
It feels like so long ago. I like this trade. Just to recap the trade, third overall pick to the New York Jets for pick number 6, so you only move back 3 spots. And you gain 3 second-round picks, 2 this year, 1 next year. I love this trade. Because
it's pretty good from the Colts standpoint.
I don't know what the Jets were thinking. Like, it was only to move up 3 spots, and you gave up 3 seconds.
Well, I think what is weird is that this trade shakes up potentially the whole draft order.
Oh yeah, no, it could go. Now there's a possibility that the draft order could go quarterback. Honestly, if we want to sit here and be completely serious.
Before the Carlos Hyde signing, I thought the Browns were definitely going to get Barkley number 1.
Oh yeah, I thought Barkley was a lock at number 1, especially after the combine.
If they get quarterback, the Giants, I don't think the Giants will get Barkley number 2.
I think that you have to get somebody to groom now because Eli's time is winding down quickly.
So it's like, do the Jets want a running back at number 3? Is that because I don't think Barkley's there at number 6.
No, Barkley's not going to be there at 6. The Colts and Chris Ballard seems to obviously want Bradley Chubb, and he seems to obviously think that Bradley Chubb is going to be there at pick 6, which is a stretch. And if he's not there at 6, just trade back some more. Like, just start stockpiling. This team isn't going to be good next year. You prove that by letting Jonathan Hankins go today.
You may hate this, but all last year, and even in last preseason, I thought they should have traded Andrew Luck while he was injured. They could have got a lot for him, and
I don't disagree with you. Like, Andrew might be my favorite player in football history besides Austin Collie, but I mean, it would have been smart on that perspective. And you have a GM who, in his first year in the league, I wouldn't have been surprised if he traded him because, number one, he didn't draft him. And if you're a GM and you didn't draft somebody, then you basically have no legal obligation to them. You know, you have like this contract that somebody else signed. Why would I want to keep somebody that somebody else signed if he's not going to benefit my team just sitting on the bench? Thought that they might have traded him to the Browns at some point this season. They didn't, and maybe got one of those, if not both of those, first round picks. But it didn't happen. Got to move on. Now we got to build an offensive line so that he's healthy.
I think they still should trade him. Like, I'm not like all in on Brissett.
Yeah, I'm not in on Brissett at all. I watched every game.
I think what they got for, like, let's be real, they traded Philip Dorsett for him.
Who I hate. If you go back and listen to all the podcasts, there is a Philip Dorsett hate comment in every single one of those podcasts. Just
like, I mean, he was on my team and like he did nothing. So,
literally,
like,
yeah.
For like a startable quarterback in this league, not bad. I'll take Brissett over maybe a third of the quarterbacks in the league to start.
Oh yeah, and he proved his usefulness throughout the year. Those idiots almost accidentally won a couple games. Like, I would almost had Scott Tolzien in there, but
let's be real. The Colts got no one outside Jack Doyle and T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, I mean, especially now that Moncrief's in Jacksonville, that's a big one. That was actually a big loss for me. One of my favorite players on this team, and Dante Moncrief going to Jacksonville, big hurt. He's
good, but Moncrief is hit and miss, though.
Yeah, you know, if 12's on the field, then he's going to score a touchdown that game. If not, then he's kind of screwed.
Yeah, he played what? I mean, you probably know them. He probably played like half or less of them a game last year, right?
Yeah, his toe bothered him, and then his calf. But I mean, of course, we can always just go back to last year. He started the first 7 games of the year. And I think with Andrew, and I think he had 6 touchdowns in the first 7 games. Dude could just not miss. But it's not going to happen like that. A piece that is still on the free agent market, actually, Ndamukong I got no clue where this idiot's going.
You know, I heard reports that, like, before he got released, he was talking about going to the Eagles. Now that he's released, I don't think that's happening. I don't know where he's going to go.
It's highest bidder. Like, it's going to be highest bidder. That's just how his weird mind functions. It's got to be. So then it comes down to who has the cap space, you know?
I want to see DeMarco Murray go somewhere.
Yeah, DeMarco Murray got hidden behind Derrick Henry, unfortunately, in Tennessee, which Derrick Henry has been a monster. So, like, that's nothing on DeMarco, but he just got overshadowed.
You know, like, I don't think DeMarco Murray is the pro bowler that he once was, but I do see him as like a really good player, and even fantasy wise, like, he's solid. Like, he's a good RB2 option when it comes down to it, you know, because he's gonna get those touches. He always got those touches in Tennessee. It's just how he functioned. Sam Bradford overpaid, so Cardinals basically traded Tyrann Mathieu for Sam Bradford. Why? I don't know.
Sam Bradford's one of those that he reminds me a lot of Alex Smith. They're both extremely serviceable. You know, they're both going to complete 70% of their passes, and they're not going to win you, 12 football games a year, but they'll win you 9, 10 maybe. Definitely not going to make a playoff push with either one of them. Unpopular opinion on Sam Bradford, but
maybe he wasn't. I thought I read stuff that he was released.
That's all right. What does Tyrod Taylor bring to the Browns offense is the real question. And is he the starting quarterback on opening day, basically?
I heard it was like a tweet yesterday from Hugh Jackson, and he said that he's there's no competition right now.
Yeah, they haven't drafted the other one yet. It's like
the craziest part, and I read that the Bills are going to try to get Lamar Jackson
why?
in the draft. And I'm like, that's just an inexperienced Tyrod Taylor.
That's
like,
that's what we've been saying on the podcast. It's like, why are you drafting Lamar Jackson without like Tyrod Taylor without experience? Like 100%. Have you not learned from your mistakes? You had EJ Manuel before that. This team just
let me talk about a name who was overhyped last free agency, got picked up, and did almost nothing. Let's talk about Terrell Pryor.
Golly, Terrell Pryor.
He's a free agent again this year. He signed that 1-year deal last year.
Yeah, and that's a prime example of people betting on themselves and failing. Terrell Pryor went into a better situation with a much better quarterback and a much better offense than Jay Gruden's offense in Washington and did nothing. Like nothing. Got overshadowed by Jamison Crowder. Ryan Grant honestly overshadowed him. Jordan Reed, obviously, in that offense is going to be a main set, but you did nothing with Kirk Cousins as a quarterback. How on earth did you do that stuff in Cleveland?
That team was downhill, though. The Redskins.
Yeah, that was the team that, because I'm a big Kirk Cousins guy, which not a lot of people can say. But
I enjoy Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is fun for me because he was drafted in the same year as Andrew and RG3. I've always thought it was so funny that they drafted two quarterbacks in the same draft class within the first 4 rounds of each other. I was like, that's so Washington. That's like the most Washington thing that could happen. Any other major free agent signings? I mean, we've already gone through Keenum, Bridgewater to the Jets. I mean, he's just going to back up whichever quarterback they draft. Let's be real here. I mean,
let's talk about what happens to Nick Foles. You think that dude gets traded?
Oh, Nick Foles. I mean, there's a lot of value there. There's obviously not Bill Polian value like Bill Polian thinks there is. You're not going to get a first and a second for him. The value of NFL draft picks is so weird because they vary depending on what time of year it is.
Well, I don't know if you've ever, if you're like a sports card dude, I am.
Yeah.
But and the difference between NBA and NFL sports cards, right?
Right.
You will get a ton of NFL rookies, right? Mm-hmm. And that's because they have no idea who's going to be good and who's not good. NBA, you're getting a very select amount, and, they already know. Like this year, they already knew Lonzo Ball was going to be good, and Jason Tatum, Markel Fultz was a bust. But that's just the thing with NFL. Like, you have no idea.
Well, yeah, that's why mock drafts are so fun, because nobody's ever going to have the same mock draft as you. Because it just varies on the day. Somebody could have one bad day, somebody could tear their ACL the next. This league is just so unpredictable.
I mean, a prime example about how it's hard to judge these players is that Jared Goff goes number 1, right?
Right.
Terrible on the Rams first season.
Yeah, get a
good a new coach. Now I'm not going to say he's better than Carson Wentz, but I would put him slightly below Carson Wentz, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
So, I mean, that's all it is. If you draft someone and it's terrible, maybe it's you, maybe it's them. It's so hard to know.
There's a word that I hate, right? Or there's a phrase that I hate, just because the greatest quarterback of all time, unfortunately, is a game manager. But Jared Goff is a game manager. Jared Goff is a game manager and knows how to not throw interceptions, and that's what's great about Jared Goff. Now, Carson Wentz is more your Peyton Manning type guy, where he's going to try to win the game on every throw. That Brett Favre-ian, Peyton Manning-esque type thing. Where Brady's more set back. He has a plan. He's going to execute it in his head, and he's going to execute it each drive. That's what makes Tom so good. Tom has the entire game planned out in his head, basically.
I'm curious what the Rams are going to do now that Sammy Watkins isn't on the team.
Yeah, they're restructuring Tavon Austin's deal, which...
Tavon Austin is garbage.
Yeah.
He was overpaid.
Oh, it's overpaid. I mean, ever since Stedman Bailey kind of got shot. Like, he's been all sort of out of whack mentally. So, I mean, I don't know what that organization is doing. They need to add somebody like a Jordan Matthews in there. I mean, which would be ironic, honestly.
Nah, not Jordan Matthews, but honestly, I think Cooper Kupp's going to get those minutes now.
Cooper Kupp's getting a lot of snaps next year. That's for damn sure. That's going to be fun.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they draft a wide receiver in this draft and he turns out to be a solid player.
It's just a matter. I mean, if I'm the Rams, I'm trading up and going and get out the kid from Alabama, Calvin Ridley. He's the best receiver that I've seen in a long time. Unfortunately, the last one that I saw that was this good was probably that I looked at in college and thought, damn, this kid's good. Was Dez, and now Dez's value has faded, and now that's enough Dez Bryant talk for that podcast. God,
it's a weird thing because the Rams and the Cowboys, and partially the Eagles, and I'll say partially the Eagles because they did slightly different. This is how I think you go from being terrible to being viable. You need to draft a solid quarterback and a solid running back, and you need to upgrade the defense. So the Cowboys did that, like when they went all the way to the playoffs 2 years ago, and the Rams did that. And then the Eagles did that, except they didn't get a running back. They got a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty phenomenal, this Eagles run, because, I have an Eagles friend who's like a huge fan. He'd be joking.
Oh, Eagles fans are the worst.
Oh,
My best friend is an Eagles fan.
Oh, man. Eagles fans, Cowboy fans, like, they're all...
They'll be talking mess to you.
And I'm just like...
Then when they get blown out by the Seahawks, they don't want to say nothing.
Yeah. What's it called? I told a Cowboy fan the other day, he was like, how old are you? I was like, old enough not to remember the last Cowboy Super Bowl. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm 21, born in June of 96. Cowboys won the Super Bowl in February. He goes, oh my God, you really don't remember the last Cowboy Super Bowl? I was like, nope, and I don't care.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's really nothing else in football unless you want to talk about any of the other trades, which the Browns were pretty much at the center of all of them besides this Colts Jets trade. If not, we can talk basketball.
Ooh, all right, let's talk some basketball. What you got?
All right, so here's a question I'm going to ask everybody that comes on, and you're probably going to be extremely surprised with me being a Maverick fan of mine. But who's your favorite basketball player, like, ever?
It's so hard because
there's just so many,
The Celtics fan in me is like, man, Larry Bird was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, man, but Bill Russell, he got those rings.
Yeah, Russell the ring man.
A Spurs fan, so I'm like, do I give it a Tim Duncan? But my favorite player right now is probably, I would say James Harden is like the most fun player I can watch, and then under that it would be Kyrie. Yeah, Kyrie's got the best crossover that I've seen since. I mean, Chris Paul's is good. It's not as quick as it used to be, but probably ever since AI. I mean, those crossovers are just ridiculous. Jamal Crawford's too, obviously. I mean, that one's obviously historic. But I went on a Twitter rant about 4:30 last night in the morning.
Really?
On the Practice Squadron Twitter page, just because I couldn't sleep, and there was like 1,000 NBA thoughts in my mind. And the Mavericks are so bad.
Yeah, they're so bad, bro. I've watched every game that I could, and I'm watching. I'm like, dang, Dennis has got 13 in the first half. I'm like, oh, but they're down 20. It's all right. It's okay.
They literally have two players going forward that are solid, and the rest I feel like need to go. And that's Dennis Smith Jr. and Harrison Barnes.
See now, and that's funny. That's funny though, because I cannot stand Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes. You're a Celtics fan, so you know how this is. You remember how good Rondo was on TV?
Yeah.
Harrison Barnes has got that syndrome. He's got TV Rondo syndrome. It's where Rondo's just this Hall of Fame player whenever he's on the television. Harrison does that against the big teams, but he doesn't care against the other teams, and I have a problem with that.
The problem with the Mavs is they have no small forward,
Yeah.
Like Wesley Matthews.
Wesley Matthews is trash. That was my least favorite player in the
That
NBA.
dude belongs on the bench.
I wanted them so bad to trade him to Cleveland at the break. I was like, just trade him for their first, not even Brooklyn's. Like, just get him out of here.
And they have too many average guards.
Yeah, like Barea, average. Harris, not even average anymore. Harris was the thing like 6 years ago.
Brea's garbage. Seth Curry is good, but he's never healthy.
Yeah, he hasn't been healthy all year.
Yogi Ferrell belongs on the bench.
Yogi Ferrell belongs in Houston or somewhere else. I need him to get out of here. He's out there trying to win basketball games. I don't like it.
I don't hate Yogi Ferrell due to like he's from the G League and he gets paid almost nothing.
Yeah.
But they need a star. Like, they need a better shooting guard, a better small forward, and they need to do something with Noel.
Yeah, Noel is actually, ever since his hot dog media room incident, is actually doing a lot better. He just got back. Last couple games that he's been playing all right. He won't be here next year for sure. There's no way in hell that he's returning to Dallas. But I love Dennis. I really like Doug McDermott so far as like
no, Doug McDermott is a beast. He's a player that is good, but he's not like your starter, so he gets traded every year.
He's like your 6th, 7th man, you know? I wouldn't even say your 6th man. He's more like your 7th, 8th man that comes off the bench and, gets hot quick. Like, I really like McDermott, and I really like Jonathan Motley out of Baylor. He's one of these G League guys where he goes back and forth. But, the games that he played really well from what I saw. Dennis is a monster, obviously. Kid puts his head on the rim every time I look at him. Can't shoot, though. Slight problem. Can't shoot. Cannot shoot.
Well, what's weird about Doug McDermott is that this dude is he's a solid 3-point shooter, and I would play him he can play 2 through 4.
Oh, no, I would play him at the 2, like, no joke. Because, we need somebody that can shoot threes that's not named Wesley Matthews out there, and, it's Doug McDermott, so why the hell not? It's not like it's Adam Morrison,
Yeah, his problem, he gets drafted by the Nuggets, traded to the Bulls, but he was on a Bulls team that already had a starting shooting guard, so then he goes to OKC. They need defense to match with Russell Westbrook's inefficiency, and then the Knicks are just trying to tank, and it's just awful for him.
This has been the most impressive tanking season that I've ever seen in NBA history, for sure.
Tanking pisses me off so badly.
See, this is good. Here's the thing, okay? You have possibly the greatest GM in basketball history as your GM.
Okay? Man, let's be real. Danny Ainge is the best GM ever.
He is phenomenal. Like, I've never seen anybody do anything like what he's done the past, 12, 14 years-ish?
What pisses me off about that is that R.C. Buford, when they got LaMarcus Aldridge, he got, Executive of the Year? And I'm like, man, you get one player and you're awesome? Danny Ainge turned this garbage team in 2014 into a playoff contender, like, right away.
But it's a lot like LeBron's, the people's argument with LeBron is like, well, LeBron's the most valuable player every year, technically, to some people, So it's like, Danny Ainge is almost there. Like, Danny Ainge makes moves every year that improve his team. And the second that he gets to the finals, then, they'll be back. Not that they haven't been there before, obviously. Yeah.
The Celtics aren't making it.
No, not this year. No, I thought they were at the All-Star break, and then they just took a nosedive.
Well, it's because every player wanted to get injured.
Yeah, then Jaylen Brown doing some crazy shit.
Oh, that was one of the weirdest moments.
Yeah,
in sports history in a while, because he slams it down, and I'm like, yeah, because I watched it live.
Yeah.
And then he gets on the ground, and I'm like, oh man, is this Gordon Hayward again?
Yeah, he was on the ground. I was like, what is he doing down there? I was like, oh, that's not good. But
I don't get why the Mavericks didn't sign, and not even the Mavericks. There are a ton of teams that could have got Brandon Jennings while he was in the G League and overseas.
To answer the question about this Mavericks team is now trying to lose basketball games. So
I don't even think it's a secret anymore.
Yeah, no.
Mark Cuban was out in the open and said it, right?
When he said it, I was like, "You idiot! You don't say that out loud. It's implied." Like, if they watch one game, then they obviously know. This is the same Mavericks team that's had a 10-point lead on the Golden State Warriors twice this season. They play them close every single time that they play. It's the dumbest thing ever. In a team that is one possession away from holding the season series against San Antonio Spurs. I've never understood that. Why can't you just play bad against all the teams? Don't play good against the bad ones. Don't play bad against the good ones. I don't understand. Anyway, favorite NBA player ever, right? You're gonna. This will shock you because he tried to ruin my franchise. But I love Rajon Rondo so much. I love Rajon Rondo.
He's like a player that you hate and then you love at the same time.
It's and I'm also one of the weird ones that likes watching Lonzo play. Which there's about 5 of us in the entire planet. But I just like good passers. I like pure point guards, basically. And there's not a lot now in this league. I mean, pure point guards, the only two I honestly think are left are Lonzo and Rondo.
The crazy part is with the West is if you get in the 7th or 8th spot, it's almost a guaranteed loss because you have to play the Red Hot Rockets
or
and then you have to play Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry, in a 7-game series, it's hard for me to imagine that those teams lose in the first round.
That's what's great about a 7-game series, though. It's I feel like the better team always comes out of it. I mean, you don't lose 4 games in a row unless, number 1, by referees, or number 2, by you just played flat out awful.
Because if you're a Spurs fan out there listening to this,
yeah, driven most of them away.
Even to make the playoffs in the 7th or 8th spot, you are going to lose, and that's going to be. It's hard. I mean, the crazy part is that it's so close right now too. Anybody can nab 5 through 8 realistically.
Well, yeah, they win tonight and they're in the 5th spot. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I want to see Denver go. I don't really care about New Orleans.
That core is already good. That core is already good with Murray, Harris, Jokic. They're just gonna keep getting better. They might have a better core.
Played this whole season. He missed 40 games in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm not even
They might have a better core. They might have a better young core than Minnesota does. In my mind, there's Minnesota, Minnesota, Philly, and then there's Denver when we come down to the best young cores. Now I would throw the Celtics in there too, just because of all that going on down there.
The problem with Minnesota is that outside of their starting lineup,
there's nothing.
They have nothing, and that's why if you look at the minutes played per game, their starters play 30-plus minutes.
I was about to say
outrageous.
I guarantee you they're all 30-plus.
Yeah.
You a big plus-minus guy?
I'm more of a percentage on field goal percentage guy.
Right.
I think that's a better indication for me of do they take better shots and how many of their shots they make. And that's why I really hate Isaiah Thomas. And I was talking about trading Isaiah Thomas before he got traded. So I think Isaiah Thomas is one of the most overrated players in recent memory.
Well, he's overrated because he's undersized, and everything that a guy under 6 foot does is going to be multiplied, basically, because they look like a Mighty Mouse out there.
It's about his shot selection, and when you watched him when he was on the Celtics, it was pull up 3. All right, he misses. We go down the court. They get the rebound. He comes back, pull up three, misses. Like that. That gets super annoying. And the problem with it is that Brad Stevens is a genius, and he was able to hide this dude under one of the best defensive teams I've ever seen. And people thought that he was going to be maybe MVP. I mean, he was like fifth in voting. But you take that, you bring him to Cleveland. It's the same shot selection. Maybe he's less athletic because he's injured. And that's why he was terrible there. And then he goes to the Lakers, and he's still terrible. You look at his shot selection.
He shot them out of games. Like,
Yeah.
There was a Portland game a couple nights ago that the Lakers played where Zoe played really well. Like, really well. And Isaiah just shot him out of the game in the last 5 minutes. Like, you can't do that. Just trust your teammates enough. I know they're newer teammates, but trust them enough to, like, let them make something happen. You don't have to force everything. You're not.
I will look at percentage of field goal over points per game, because if you look at Isaiah Thomas, he can get 20 points per game if you like. That's what he's been getting so far on the Lakers. He gets around like 15 to 20, but he's like 3 for 9 or like crazy numbers.
Yeah, he goes like 0 for 10 from 3 or something stupid. It's like just understand that you're not that good of a free throw 3-point shooter, and just get in the mid range. Like, drive the basket, hit the mid range, do something else, because you cannot shoot threes. It's a slight problem.
What if I said that the Milwaukee Bucks are the most overrated team right now?
I mean, it's understandable. I mean, Chris Middleton's hot, so they're getting a lot of attention right now. That's the X factor on that team. If Chris Middleton plays well, that team's hard to beat. But I mean, Giannis is gonna do what Giannis does. If you let Giannis get his, then I mean, you shouldn't have a problem with them.
Well, they're hovering around 500 right now. Like, they're 37 and 32, 7th seed in the West. Like, that doesn't show me that they're like an elite team.
Oh no, they're definitely not elite yet. You know, there was a spot at the deadline where I thought that they were gonna go out and get DeAndre Jordan, and I was like, okay, you know, that gives them presence in the middle, and it'll basically give Giannis someone to play catch with, and him not have to be down there in the post by himself almost. But I mean, that Milwaukee team's not going to be good for a little bit. It might be a year, maybe 2, maybe even 3. But Giannis is still young. Giannis is like 22, something crazy like that. So he's only going to get better, and so should that team. Trying to think who else is overrated. You got to give me your thoughts on this Houston team.
They're the best team in the NBA. It's not even a question. They will kill you. It's just that they're so efficient.
Well,
James Harden be shooting shots, and when I look at it, I'm like, that's not going in. And then you hear the little swish, plop sound.
Yeah, it's that
sound in the whole universe. I'm like, man,
it's that 2016 Steph Curry syndrome, where you have to keep your eyes on James Harden because you just don't know what he's going to do next. Because, you know, Steph had the year where he would pull up from just anywhere, and it was must-see TV. And that's what the Rockets are this year. And
I expect a huge rebuild from Detroit this offseason.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Blake Griffin, I mean, he's Blake Griffin, and he's making $100 million over the next 4 years. So it's like, what do you want to do with the guy? Drummond, I mean, he doesn't score a lot. If Andre Drummond ever figure out how to shoot the basketball, it changes his life.
Well, to me, it's not that, because you look at Houston, and Clint Capella isn't like an amazing shooter. He just, you know, like, he plays his role. He can guard the three, and he's a rim protector. And I expect Detroit to take their two pieces, which is Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin, and they need to build around that. I expect Reggie Jackson to be gone.
Reggie Jackson should have been gone last year.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about somebody who was overpaid. Reggie Jackson got a lot of money for a small stretch of time in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
It's just...
No, I that first year that he was on Detroit, I thought that he was...
Yeah, no, it looked like he was doing something. You know, and Luke Kennard's obviously not a guy that's not going to get a lot of minutes there for a while. But that's a piece that you can build around. That's somebody that can shoot the basketball at least, if nothing else. But there's not a lot to build around on that Detroit team. But it's more than the Mavericks or anybody like that in that top 10 echelon, basically.
Because you look at that trade between the Clippers and the Pistons, and it's not even close.
Oh no, the Clippers fleeced them. Like they wrecked them. It was awful. It looked like a Danny Ainge trade.
To me, what defined the Clippers this year is that people thought that they were going to be terrible when they lost Chris Paul. That Chris Paul trade boosted them tremendously. Did Patrick Beverley play this season? No. But I think they got solid pieces in Lou Williams and Sam Decker, and I think they got some draft picks.
Avery Bradley, too. Avery Bradley's a guy that's going to be a free agent this offseason, but hasn't been playing that bad, honestly.
Well, he's out for the season.
Yeah, Bradley's obviously out. But you have a guy like Lou Williams who's going to be a free agent this offseason.
No, he signed.
Did he re-sign? Right, he's the one that signed the extension. Good for Lou, though. Having his best year in like his 12th year or something crazy like that. The 12th, 11th year. It's a good, he's been so impressive this year. All right, this is a weird question, right? Because I think I know the answer. There's been two Danny Ainge trade, right? Two big Danny Ainge trades at least. Probably upwards of 4 or 5 because you had the Ray Allen. Was the Ray Allen thing a trade? Can't remember.
Yeah, that's how they got Jay Crowder.
Yeah. No, that was the Rondo trade.
Wait, what was the first question?
The Ray Allen trade.
Oh, no, he left in free agency.
Okay. But the KG one, KG obviously came in. That built that team immediately. Then you had the Nets trade, right? Nets trade, one of the biggest fleecings in sports history, along with the 90s Cowboys fleecing of the Herschel Walker trade. And then you have the Mavericks Rondo trade. Okay? Gave up 2 first-round picks. Gave up Jay Crowder. Received Rajon Rondo and Dwight Powell. What? It sounded okay at the time. Then Rondo quit on us during a playoff series. I was like, all right, this didn't go the way I thought it would, but okay. I hate that Rondo trade. Really bothers me.
To me, it wasn't really anything. Like Jay Crowder, I don't consider I'm telling you, everything that's revolved around the Celtics right now is all Danny Ainge. Or not Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens is a genius.
Oh, no, he's the best coach.
Yeah. No.
Everybody's like, Pop is the best coach.
Pop hasn't coached for 2 years. Pop hasn't really coached for 2 years. He's been taking his foot off the gas and everything like that. They play dead during the regular season half the time anyway. Which drives me nuts.
It's just weird because I think Danny Ainge knows when to strike, and he knows when teams are hurting, or when they need something. The year was the 2016 draft, I believe. The draft that they got Terry Rozier at like 16 or 17, and they had like 5 picks. Yeah. And the year they got Jaylen Brown, everybody outside of Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown, there is garbage. They had like 8 picks over those 2 years, if not more, and it was a waste. But I think you just roll the dice. You get the players you think that are good, and I think it's just lucky that Terry Rozier has been solid, Jaylen Brown, and now Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is the dude that got traded. Basically, the 76ers gave him Markelle Fultz and then this year's first-round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know what they saw in Markelle.
I don't think the Celtics were going to take him number 1.
Oh, I don't think they were either. It's a lot like this Colts thing. I think that they had their eyes locked in on Tatum, and they were like, we're going to get our guy at 4. So,
but if the Celtics don't pick Tatum, I think he's like out of the top 6 because I think everybody was hyped on Josh Jackson in the last year's draft.
Yeah,
and he was nothing. And
Dennis is the only. I mean, Jonathan Isaac hasn't done anything. Nitakila hasn't done anything. I hate his name so much. Why couldn't he just have a normal American name?
it's really between like De'Aaron Fox and Dennis. I don't know which one is better.
I'm not a De'Aaron Fox guy. I mean, I love Zoe, and I love watching Dennis. They're both fun.
I'm hyped that I went to Summer League this summer and I got to see Zoe.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty lit. And I saw Kyle Kuzma go off.
Kyle Kuzma. Let's talk about that Laker team for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. That's one of those young cores, one of the ones that we actually didn't talk about. What does that team need? Is it veteran leadership? You have a guy in Luol Deng who's getting paid $17 million to be the 10th man in the rotation. But, they need a veteran leader in there, and I think Brook Lopez isn't enough of the guy.
Brook Lopez isn't. I don't see him being there after this year.
That was just a part of a deal.
Yeah, with or without LeBron James or Paul George, I think that they can make the playoffs next season because I think Ingram has now been. I did not like him his rookie season just because I didn't think that he was good. But now you got Ingram, Lonzo Ball's solid. And then Kyle Kuzma, who's honestly not bad. And I don't mind Josh Hart coming off the bench. I think that he's actually like one of their better players. I don't think KCP's there next year.
No, I don't think so either. I think that was a bad deal. The guy was arrested and for a thing that he did in Detroit and was suspended for 4 road games, basically. It's just not a guy that you want in the locker room.
But I think there is potential. If they could get a really good small forward, maybe.
Because that's what they're missing. When in reality, that is what they're missing. They got rid of Larry Nance, which basically told Julius Randle, "Here's the keys." But
if I'm the Lakers, I resign Julius Randle.
Oh yeah, because here's the thing: you gotta do it and hope that he doesn't go for more than $20 million, which somebody's going to be dumb enough, and it might be my team, to sign that idiot for $20 million. Because my Mavs are about to have so much cap space, it's about to be dumb.
He is probably one of my favorite underrated players in recent history.
And I don't know why he's so...
No, not him. I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
And this dude was so gettable like last season and the season before that, and no one wanted him. Willie Cauley-Stein is a future star if one, the Kings can get good, or 2, if he goes to a solid team.
I don't know why there's so much disrespect for Willie. Maybe it's because he was behind DeMarcus for so long.
Well, it's not that he was behind him. He was also behind Karl Anthony Towns at Kentucky.
Well, yeah, that too. And then not only that, but in the same year they draft Scalabissiere, or the next year. Why do you keep drafting Kentucky big men to overshadow each other? It just doesn't make any sense.
Scalabissiere is he's awkward though, because he's like a center/power forward, but he's so you look at him and he's so thin.
Yeah, he's so lanky.
Yeah.
It's not a word that I like using, but that's the word to describe Scalabissiere as lanky.
They need some good stuff because I like Willie Cauley-Stein at center. I like Zach Randolph at power forward. I like De'Aaron Fox at the. That's a
good one. That's a good 1-2 punch.
He's probably middle of the pack shooting guards, but he's on the cheap anyway, so I don't mind.
Well, that's the thing. It's Fox Hield should be good in the next couple years while they're still on their rookie deals. That should be a backcourt that people should want to see soon. In my opinion, at least. It's the thing that the Lakers don't have. The Lakers don't have a good shooting guard because you got to give it to KCP or Isaiah if you want to put Isaiah at the 2 because Lonzo's handling the ball half the time anyway.
Yeah, but what I like about Lonzo, I feel like he's probably not in the beginning of the season because he was a terrible shooter, but I feel like his shot selection is getting better, and I don't mind him being like a pass first guard.
No, because that's what he was raised to do. He wasn't raised to shoot, despite what these people think and despite what the other two brothers have shown you. Apparently Zoe's always been really pass first. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Are you familiar with his shot format?
I'm not. I've
Like
seen
the
it.
way he shoots the ball?
I've seen it. I've watched it a million times at least at this point, and it is the weirdest thing that I've ever seen since probably watching Duckworth shoot free throws in Bulls film in the 90s.
What if I told you, and I had an epiphany about this like a week and a half ago, it is one of the most effective shots I've ever seen.
Just because it's... Why is that?
Okay, so the NBA is a pick and roll and screen league now, right? Pick and roll and screens, right? The way he shoots the ball, he doesn't hold it in the front of his head. He holds it on the side.
Like, holds it by his ear.
Side.
Yeah.
If you are coming off a screen and the defender is coming from your right, and you shoot the ball the way he does, he gets extra space between the defender's hand and where he shoots the ball. So does his shot take longer? Yes, his shot takes longer, but in the pick and roll and screens, I wish I worked at ESPN because I want to see the efficiency of this.
Right.
When he shoots the ball off screens, it's so wide open due to the way that he shoots it.
Yeah, well, that makes so much sense because you basically have an extra step of space because they can't put their hand in front of your face, basically, I mean, they can, but it just doesn't happen that way, especially with the way this NBA runs, the amount of times that they run pick and roll. Having that extra half step or a couple inches is going to be huge, especially once he gets this shot actually completely together this offseason. I've been trying to tell people for a while. I mean, he's going to be dangerous.
Well, the thing is, like when he faces up on an opponent and he shoots the shot, it's ineffective because his shot does take too long.
Right.
And they're already in front of him, but on the screens, he gets that time, and that's what I admire, and that's why when I watch like professionals talk about a shot, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about because half the time you're talking about this is a pick and roll league, and then this player has a shot that's designed for pick and roll, and you just like destroy him.
But everybody criticizes something that's new.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate doing this, but as a Maverick fan, you go back to, all the papers written about Dirk once the Mavs traded for him during that draft. They're like, well, the 7-footer is never going to work on the outside. This league will never convert to that. That's all this league is now. It's all this league is, I mean, he can lie and say that he's 6'10" all he wants, but he's definitely 7 foot. And, all he wants to do is shoot.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah. Didn't you see that picture? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He's standing next to Boogie. I was like, oh, my goodness. But, I mean, that's all they want to do. Boogie shoots threes. AD's starting to shoot threes. This league, partly because of the Golden State Warriors, but more importantly because of that basically 15-second offense that the Phoenix Suns ran in the 2000s, made this a high-scoring league. And you have to be able to shoot threes to be successful in this league now.
I don't know if you get offended by this or not.
No, it's all right.
But I never think that the Mavericks 1-0 in 11.
No, I don't either. I always think
like
that
when I think of the last winning teams, I never think of like the 11 Mavericks.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's the funny thing that you say that. In my head, in my mind, they won in 06 and they didn't win in 11 because they had no right to win in 11. No right. There was no reason that team should even be in the same building as that Miami Heat team. But then again, there's no reason that Dwayne Wade should take more free throws than my entire team in 2006. But that's for another day. It's that almost got to like Philip Dorsett range angry. All right, I'll tell you my Philip Dorsett story now, since we're kind of winding down. So Philip Dorsett, okay, we were sitting in my dorm room. I think it was my freshman year. And the Colts had this is after the thrashing that we got from y'all. Where was it? Yeah, it was the dumb game. It was like 48-6. It was the Deflategate game. So we're sitting in there during the draft, and I'm like, oh my God, Landon Collins is still on the board. You know, we just like got free agent Andre Johnson. So I'm like, all right, Moncrief, Johnson, Hilton, Doyle, Fleener, we're good. We're gonna be all right. And then they came out and they said the Colts select Philip Dorsett, and I looked at the TV and I said no. And my roommate was like, what do you mean no? I was like, that's not what I wanted. Why did we draft a receiver? He goes, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm extremely angry. I'm extremely emotional. And I hate Philip Dorsett. He was like, give the kid a chance. I was like, all right. First ball in preseason, right? Straight just drops it. I was just like, all right. Okay, you could be okay, I guess, maybe. Never turned out to be anything. And when the day that they traded him for Jacoby Brissett was one of the happiest days of my life. I was like, goodbye, foul beast. And then he was gone. You have to have a Patriot that you've hated.
Yeah, everybody has one. I hated when Ocho Cinco was on the team.
That was a weird try.
Shane Vereen was weird. I didn't like him. I really hated Wes Welker at the end with all the drug charges.
Yeah, that got ugly quick.
And when he went to the Broncos.
See, now I got a little hurt when Austin Collie went to the Patriots for spring training, and I was just like, oh, you didn't make it through spring training? You didn't make it through camp? Okay. I was like, all right. And I'm not as offended anymore. I will not burn your jersey like a jackass Cleveland fan.
Well, talking about jerseys, I have 2 jerseys now that I can, not that I can't wear, because I have an Amendola jersey.
Right.
And he's not on the team anymore.
Dolphins.
He won 2 Super Bowls, so
yeah.
I'll keep that one. And I have an Isaiah Thomas Celtics jersey.
That's a weird one to have, too.
I want to burn it. I want to do something with it. Honestly, I thought about getting one of those little kiddie pools.
Yeah.
Making a little boat.
Like
on there, just lighting it on fire.
Viking funeral it.
Let me know in the comment section, guys. Would that be a cool video for me to do?
I think it would be awesome. Yeah, so get this. This is how excited I was when we made this trade. I own a Dallas Mavericks Rajon Rondo jersey.
Why? He was on the team for 4 months.
Yeah, I was like, he's gonna sign an extension. As soon as we made the trade, I got the jersey. I was like, my favorite player is on my favorite team. How many times does this happen? Then he attempted to ruin my franchise DeAndre Jordan style, but that's the real reason behind the pain for all Mavericks fans. DeAndre Jordan. But now he got what's coming to him, so it's all right. Now he's all alone in with the Clippers.
Yeah.
There's another player that I can't stand. Reasonably so, though. Reasonably so.
All right, let's wrap this up. What are your final thoughts?
Free agency's still going. People like Sue, all of that, still on the board. So, draft time's almost here. I'd love to have you on anytime you want.
No, for real. We should probably do this regularly.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Go ahead and plug your show real quick, and then I'll sign off.
All right, guys. Don't forget Practice Squadron, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. If you're on Austin's YouTube right now, if you're watching mine, I want to see some comments in that comment section.
All right, guys. Well, this has been Double Coverage. My name's Austin Hartsfield, and I'll see y'all later.